What's going on, Herd? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got another one in the Doesn't Drift video series where we test them in-game, see if they have the ability to be drift cars. Today we got really a surprising vehicle. I have drifted this thing around, and I gotta say this is probably, this might take the Fusillade, however you want to pronounce it, for the most overlooked drift-worthy vehicle in the game. But I don't want to spoil anything. Let's get a drift build on this thing. I don't run any armor. I don't run any brakes. Bumper, let's just check her out out. See what she's dealing with. I'll do it. Rear bumper. What do we got for rear? We'll do her. Engine. Got to go all the way up on the engine. Transmission. Turbo. Exhaust. What do we got for exhaust? Oh, ooh, that looks pretty nice. I'll run that. Run that race exhaust. Of course, no explosives. Hood. Let's just take a little look. Nope, not going to do that. Not going to mess with the horn. Lights, I'm going to leave alone. Livery, let's just take a quick look, see what we're looking around. Take a little gander. No, not into it. Lost, not doing that. Respray, I got to do the secondary. I think we're just going to keep the secondary black. No, I'm not going to do the roll cage. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, so you can take this off too. $700. Sell, not going to sell it. Transmission, that's one of the upgrades we have to do. Turbo as well, got to do her. Wheels, what kind of wheels are we going to run? Just run the old SUVs on it? I don't know, I kind of feel like we got to run some muscles. Kind of just like the look of the stock meats, in all honesty. All right, let's run the drags. Kind of looks nice though, don't it? I'm going to do it. I don't often do it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't often do that. We'll just do some light smoke on it, keep it kind of classy. Kind of a basic build. Was there even a spoiler option? I don't think so. Oh, those wheels are already glistening. Let's get our own stanced up. We are here at the Highline track. This is not a release track. I'm gonna say it again. All right, that did not work. We'll try it on the actual map. Make sure that that wasn't just because it was out there. Stancing up all right this time around. See if we can get a normal stance on the front here. Oh yeah, we're smoking. Okay, we're gonna have to be careful with the front end then. Hit it back here. This is pretty much where you would shoot the Banshee 900R traditionally to not smoke the engine block. Oh, we're still smoking there. So I'm going really far back in the fenders. This may not be the place that's gonna work, but I'm just gonna keep trying things until we can at least get a stance on the front. Okay, that worked. So we got bullet holes in our car now, but still, I mean, it's gonna be good in the front. Let's see if we can get the rear going here. Now this one worked the one time. Let's see if it works again. Looks like it's going to. All right, we're off to the races. Or the drift track, one or the other. So the Coquette, however you want to pronounce it. Coquette is how I say it. The Coquette Classic. Let's see how this thing goes. So I got to drive this thing around a little bit in my last drift lobby. Oh my goodness, she's slick, she's slidey. She's got like a short wheelbase, it kind of feels like, so it wants to spin out. Well, it doesn't look short, but it feels short. Yeah, it wants to spin out a little bit more than I remember, but let's take her around the long track here. So the first thing I'm noticing right away is this car wants to spin out a lot more than I would like it to spin out. It just, it's like it's got so much power to the rear, and it's a very slippery handling line. You got to be pretty, it just takes some getting used to, really, is what it comes down to. Like, I'm struggling to get some of these corners correct, and these are corners I can get correct every time in other vehicles. It just seems like a very unique handling line. It's almost kind of like the Mamba, but a lot less body roll. This is very planted, a lot less body roll. See right there, that was a good drift, and all I did was threw a little bit of power to the rear and we spun out. So you are gonna have to use a lot of left trigger brake on this one. Just a little bit of power is all it takes for you to spin out, but if you don't give it the power, then it straightens out on you, so you gotta give it the power. It's just, takes a little bit of, again, getting used to this thing. You really gotta catch yourself with single gear drifting, that's what it comes down to. Yep, that's the ticket. You just got to catch yourself when you're going around those corners. Catch yourself with a single gear. The issue with it is that spin out thing. You really have to administer throttle control very lightly when you're at a high angle. Like right now, I got to be very careful. Oh, and see, then you just get so skittish that you end up straightening out. So, and there it is. It was a great entry, and just a little bit of power to get through the corner was enough to spin me out. It's like you just have to just completely slide with the vehicle. It's a cool drift car, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. It's just something that you really have to get used to it. Oh, dang it. Alright, well after getting to use this thing for a bit, I'm kind of starting to feel it out. It still has a lot more spin out than what I would typically like. So first off is going to be the driftability on the car. Second off, we're going to look at the efficiency of it as a drift vehicle. And finally, we'll talk about the cost of it altogether. What are you paying for this drift car? So first off is driftability. It's fully capable of drifting, I'll tell you that much. However, it does have that spin out factor. So I've kind of gotten the spin out figured out, but when you're going into some of these corners and you just power a little bit too much and you're at a normal angle where a lot of the other drift vehicles would be able to handle it, this car will just spin out right. It's just too much power going to the rear wheels, so it spins right out on you. Is it a deal breaker? No, not by any means, but it is an issue, and it is something that, again, you're going to have to get used to. Driftability on this thing, it's fully capable. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Maybe it deserves a 9, but I just feel like it could be slightly better. Maybe if we had a spoiler, or we had some suspension in there, that would be a really nice thing to have on this vehicle. But they weren't options. So 8.5 is what I'm going to give it on the driftability. Next, going into efficiency. Efficiency, we keep in mind a few different things. Basically, how it stanced up, how efficiently it did, and then how does it handle damage and continue to drift. There's a few vehicles that you get a little bit of tap on the rear end, and you're just completely screwed. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little damage into this vehicle, predominantly in the rear end, but all over it, front and the rear, kind of screw up the handling line a little bit, see how it handles average damage. So what we're simulating here is crashing into other people. You know, how many times can you get your vehicle crashed into by other drifters? How aggressive can you be with this vehicle and then still have a vehicle 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 crashes later? Looks like it's handling damage very well. I'm not seeing hardly any hop at all. It's very planted, not any more body roll. Everything is staying pretty much the same on this thing. So damage itself, I mean, I'm seeing a little bit. The more I'm looking at it, I guess. So at higher angle with power in the rear, I'm seeing a little bit of change. So damage, it holds very well. The stance is a little bit weird. Remember in the beginning, we had to shoot it a little bit weird in the front so that the engine block didn't smoke. But we did manage to find a way, and I think that should be pretty efficient for free mode drifting. However, you do have to do a little bit of weirdness, and yeah, that does kind of suck in the free mode, because if you do blow up your vehicle, then you have to call it in through Moore's Mutual, and then you got to go and you got to restance it, and hopefully you don't alert the friggin' cops and all that stuff. So I mean, that's really why I keep that in account with the efficiency, is free mode drifting. Free mode drifting is it's something that we all enjoy doing, and you want the most efficient vehicle you can, specifically in the stance. The damage, I'm not going to hit it at all. It handles the minimal or even moderate damage very, very well without showing any negativity to the drift line. And the stancing is pretty good. I think that's pretty consistent. However, we did have to do it a little bit weird, so I will give this a 9. I'm going to hit it the 1 point for the little bit of weird stancing we have to do. It does stance up. It is fine. It's a great drift car, but again, it's going to be a little bit weird in free mode. It may even be a little inconsistent in free mode. You may blow this vehicle up a time or two. So that's going to bring us into the final aspect, and that is cost. And cost is actually one of the good aspects of this vehicle. It's going to be $600,000 stock, and the upgrades were relatively cheap. There wasn't a lot for upgrades, so there's not like a crazy amount of body kit stuff. There's no crazy hoods. There's a carbon fiber hood, a secondary color hood, that's it. You got a roll cage, no crazy nothing. It really wasn't anything crazy. You do have livery options, so you can up it a little bit, but this does not have to be an expensive vehicle at all. This can be a drift vehicle for $750 grand. So you're at the high end, but that's fully customized. Cost on this thing for what you're getting out of it, again, I'm going to give it a great score here. I'm going to give it a 9. I think it does very, very well in this aspect. This is a really cool car, and if you do get that little bit of spin out down and you figure out how to really, and we just get her going a little bit there, you figure out really how to tame that, I think this is going to be a really cool car to add to your drift collection. So 26.5 out of 30. Late in the game. This is not a new car to the game by any means, but we're just getting to it in the Does It Drift series. Plenty more vehicles to come. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like below. Let me know below. What are some other vehicles you want to see in the series? Keep in mind, we do have a long list of vehicles that we're already trying to get into this series. So if you do put something below and it's not on the list, it will go on the list. But it's going to be a little bit before we get to it, guys. As always, guys, hope you all stay happy out there. Please stay positive, and we will definitely speak to you next time.